On today's episode, we're doing an introduction in Primavera P6. Come follow along. All right, so let's get started with some navigation and just a quick introduction. This will just be very quick. There's a lot in here to unpack. We'll have other videos going through what that looks like, but this will just give you kind of a fairly quick overview of navigating Primavera P6. So starting off, this is just blank. I've closed everything. So we'll kind of have to navigate through here. What I like to do to start off is to open a project. And in order to do that, we need to go to the projects view, which in this case there's a few different ways to access it. There's a little envelope looking item here. You can hover over it and it says projects. So we'll open it up, and these are all projects. I've got some personal projects in here, and then a lot of these are just defaulted. Primavera gives you them, so if the dates look very old, that's what's going on. So first let's open a project. We're just going to use this one as an example, Red River Refuel Outage, and we need to open it up to actually work in it. So that's the first thing you want to do. You can right click and hit open. I believe you can hit Control plus O also, but we'll just right click and click open project. The data is loading. What you could have done also, it's just personal preference. We'll close this so you can see. When you go, you can go here. It's a similar white envelope, but it says open. So we go open, and then you can select which project you want open, which is the one we have open now. And that's indicated from the file folder. Looks like it's open. Okay, so that is getting a project open. And now see our screen still has nothing on it. The project's open because look right here. It says the name of the project. So initially what we need to do is click on activity. That's what I like to do. So you can see aspects of your project. All right, moving on, let's start to talk about some of the navigation. So over here, there's two layers here. I'm going to start off with this layer here, and then there's some other ones up top. Here's file. Under file, there's pretty basic commands: open, close, print preview, printing, import, exporting. And a lot of them, if you hover over this little double caret, it expands it even further. So there's a few other commands. Not for this example, just focus on file is creating new projects, or printing, print preview, but we'll go in detail later on printing. All right, so the next one, edit. This is kind of task related to me, so you can cut and copy information on the tasks, add tasks, delete, dissolve. I'm a big fan of dissolve. Basically what dissolve does, just quickly, if you have task A, B, and C, and they're all linked together in like a waterfall, and you want to get rid of B, but you don't want to delete B, lose the logic in between those two, dissolve will basically make it where B never existed and link A and C back together, which is really unique for scheduling software, and one of my favorite functions in Primavera, one of the biggest benefits. You can search for items here. Spell check is great, and then there's some user preferences. I do use this from time to time. This you can change the units of how time is presented, change the date format, which is nice. I don't really mess with any of these other functions much. There's several in here, but for me, it's date formats in most cases. So we'll close that. Project, you can get to your WBS, which is, there's other ways to do that, and also activity, which we already learned. You can click the green line to get to activity from the navigation window on the side. So I'll show you, if you clicked here, WBS, which look at that symbol, so the blue boxes, it's the same as right here. So if you click WBS, this is the WBS for that specific project. So this project doesn't have a WBS, so I'm not really useful in this case. All right, back to project view. So we've got, you can assign different baselines, resources, get to your activity, and that's probably the most basic explanation of these. Enterprise, there's a lot in enterprise. There's projects. That's what we just went to starting out. That's an envelope we opened up. And every time you do a lot of these, it opens in another tab. So we see we've got activity tab, WBS, because we opened it earlier. So if you went to enterprise and you wanted to look at resources, you click that. Now that's a tab in here, and these are resources in your schedule. So whatever you click tends to save on these tabs. Moving on a little more enterprise, there's another section that's really useful, and that's calendars. Let's grab it. It will go to another screen sometimes. So calendars, this is where you can create your own calendar, very specific to resources or projects, but you can select and create, modify your calendars here. There's also activity codes in here. So if we go to enterprise and we look through here, we have resource codes, project codes, activity codes. We're not going to go into those in depth in this video, but Primavera allows you to create some codes that differentiate certain elements of tasks. I'll kind of leave it as that. There's several of them, and that's a very in-depth conversation for Primavera, but this is how you access it, and we'll talk more about that later. There's also accessing resources like we did earlier. There's roles for resources and so on, several aspects here. All right, so now let's look at tools. Open this up a little bit. This is a tool that's very important. There's a few different ways to get to this tool, and also other aspects of going through here. There's some of these shortcuts on top. So this, and you can identify them kind of by the matching image. So schedule is very important. That you'll use a lot, and we'll talk more through that. What it looks like when you click schedule, it opens a dialog box like this, where you basically tell Primavera what date and time it is. And that's what it's a little unique from other scheduling softwares. You schedule from the perspective of a date, and this is where you manipulate that date. But we'll talk more about that, but this is where you apply that scheduled date. Okay. Going on from there, we're still in tools. So there's schedule. In here, some key takeaways. You can level resources. You can apply actuals, compare schedule, and make some global changes for other projects that may link to this as in a program level. Let's move on a little bit to admin. From admin, you can go through preferences, which is nice. This is similar to your settings. You can make it very specific. There's a lot of detail, especially in this earned value section of how earned value is calculated, which day of the week you schedule from. Looks like there's other items here, especially calendars, rates, and so on. So there's a lot of preferences. There's a lot you can do with this program. And I think we'll go through there. So there's the help. That's pretty straightforward. There's some resources, articles, and links to get some help here. But also, message me, send me a message, and I can help you through some projects. All right, so that's a final recap of this box here, and a lot of what's up here. Let's walk through this. So almost everything we went through on here, on this top ribbon, is shortcut up here. So there's print preview. Well, actually, let's go to activity and click some of these. So print and print preview. Print preview would be my first action to really look at how items are being printed. It can be all over the board with setting this up. And we'll talk more about printing in Primavera later. You have the ability to manipulate the Gantt chart from here as well. Actually, this shows the Gantt chart. So Primavera, you can set up a lot of views on here, and this is the Gantt chart view right now. So that indicates that it is being shown. So you can also show a table, which this is the table portion. So look, we bring the Gantt chart back. There's also some other views, activity network. Personally, I don't use this a lot for the type of projects that I do, but there's useful applications for this. Also, going back, if you click this little drop-down box, you could add or remove buttons based off of the category. So that was printing. Here, we could add or remove some as well. I typically just keep the ones you see, but there might be instances where you may want different ones. Let's go back to Gantt chart and the chart. Moving on a little bit, this can show relationship lines, so that'll follow on the Gantt chart. You see, we unselect that, they're gone. I like them, so I'll leave them here for this example. Let's go on a little bit. This next one here is details, and I really like details, so let's click details. This gives a lot of information about your tasks. So it comes up on the bottom here. If you want to hide it, you can just right click here on it and hide details window. If you want it back, just come back up here in this little symbol of details. So this is task specific information. So all of these are different tabs about this. And you can also customize this, which is nice. So you can right click in here and customize these, and you can, here, I'll grab this box. This shows you available tabs that you can take, or you can remove some just by clicking and pulling one left to right. So let's say you didn't want general, you pull it over and it's gone. Or if you want it back, push it back over. And you can also put it left, hey, I want general at the end, or in the middle. You can move them up or down, wherever you want to go. So we'll just hit X. So these are nice. General talks about the activity type, and we'll talk more about that, but it's very specific to how you want this scheduled. If is it a milestone? Is it effort driven, task driven, a summary task, whatever it may be. So that information's here. How you want the task percentage type, the calendar, a lot of great stuff here. Status, this talks about the durations of the task. and how many hours are actual remaining. You can even put labor units on tasks that have some type of earned value or monetary value just by clicking that. You can put cost to it. Is there a constraint to the task? Has it started and finished? So on. So this is how you work your schedule, is through these tabs down here. You can put the resources together. There's your task relationships, predecessors, successors. You add them and a new dialog box will pop up just like that. And then you select it and you add it there. Same thing with successor. So you can add, remove, change the logic from here. A lot of different stuff here. So those are the main ones I use, but there's several others. So let's get rid of this box for now. We're just going to hide it. These are some other views that you can do. Activity usage spreadsheet. So it shows you your activities, which could be nice. Your almost resource loading down here at the bottom. So that's a nice thing to have. Different profiles. This is nice. This can get into earned value curves. So there's some nice things here, and a lot of it's very customizable. There are some limits to earn value in here, but you can export this data and get some really nice information and earned value graphs from the data, which is really nice. Okay, so let's look through here. There's others you can do with the resources on a spreadsheet. Here's more on the resource usage. This is a trace logic. I don't really use this too much, but this is the main one. As big for me is the project details. All right, so next one here, this one's pretty important. This is your bar styles. So you can change how your bars are colored and represented on the Gantt chart. Very specific stuff on here, but you can manipulate it. I use this one a lot. This is columns. This is how you organize your schedule. Here, let's grab this. This is how you organize your schedule. So if you see on the on this left side, you see we have activity ID, name, start, finish. That's represented here. So let's say you wanted some other information. You wanted, let's see, so some common ones, the duration. So on here, there's so many different ones. Let's say we want actual duration. You pull it over and you add that where you want it. Let's say I want it to end, and we just apply. So now it added that column to it. So that's really good. You can customize this all over the place, and this is kind of where you could add data from those activity codes too, which we'll get into later. So those were columns. This is time scale. What the time scale is up here. Granted, these dates are, because this is an example project, they're a bit older, but you can say you want 3 lines where you want maybe the year, month, and day, the quarter. You can just adjust how the scaling looks on your Gantt chart. Filter is nice. This is very customizable too. So these are some user-defined ones. These are ones that I made. You can make them as specific as you want. There's also some that are pre-made, but you can filter what's completed, what hasn't started, in order to create these. We'll modify one we made. It's just a statement, where. For this one, it's where all the tasks, when the start is less than the current date and so on. So you can customize this and edit this And we'll walk through some examples of that. But that's where you get to your filters, very useful component. Group and sort. This is how you organize your Gantt chart. So right now, this is just showing all the tasks on here, but maybe we have different levels of a WBS and we want them to be indicated differently or hide ones that are empty. You can really customize this. It can also be saved. You can save these layouts and templates too, which that's another video. And like I said, there's a lot to really deep dive in here. So we're just gonna go through a couple more of these line numbers. This just adds these numbers here to this. And then you can change the format and the font of text here also to whatever you desire. Okay, so moving on, visualizer. I'm not going to get into this. This opens a whole nother screen, but we can talk later about that. Schedule, I mentioned that. That's great to get where you want to be on your day-to-day. You can level resources. This is progress spotlight. It just kind of shows where you should be based on the day-to-day. So, keep in mind this old schedule, but it's about on this timeline on the day-to-day. So if you were to go and schedule, see how the day-to-date applied in April 30th, and that task fits around that time period. So you could change this. You actually just change the date in another dialog box. Right here is where you'll pick the date. So progress line here, this shows where your day-to-date is on where you schedule it. This here, these are nice. This can zoom in and zoom out your Gantt chart. And then these tabs here really just move your view around. Just be cautious. They can get kind of confusing maybe to put back together, but you can change your views here. On this side, this is where you add tasks, delete, cut, copy. We talked a little bit about that on the file tab. So that's all here. And then you can go through resources here. So this section down here can go up or down. It basically moves your WBS if you have a more detailed WBS where you need to indent and outdent some information. But that's a quick tour. There's a lot more to go into Primavera. Don't get intimidated by it. It's a big, robust software, but once you understand it, it's such a powerful tool. So there you have it. That was a quick introduction in Primavera P6. Like and follow for more content.